Hey everybody, I'm Diana Yoder here at the Boonshoft Museum of Discovery, and I'm the Astronomy Education Coordinator, and today I get to take you on a tour of the outer solar system. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start our tour of the outer solar system with the planet Jupiter. It is an amazing planet. It is the largest planet in our solar system and is considered a gas giant. So a gas giant is made up of nothing but gas and dust. So there's just miles and miles and miles of clouds with no surface to stand on. And as we swing past the dark side of Jupiter, we're going to come back around and we'll be able to see those beautiful bands, which are the tops of those clouds. So we've got clouds turning in one direction and then another layer of clouds turning in the other direction and back and forth and back and forth. And all of these clouds moving around create massive storms, including the Great Red Spot, which we just passed. I'm going to zoom backwards, spin around the planet the other way so we can see that Great Red Spot. It is a massive hurricane-like storm that's been churning on the surface of Jupiter for hundreds of years and has no sign of leaving anytime soon. It has gotten smaller over the past few years, but we don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. So those clouds just create all this turmoil and activity that we can see on that top layer of clouds there on the planet Jupiter. Let's fly on out to our second planet of the trip, which is actually the sixth planet in the solar system. And here we are arriving at the beautiful planet Saturn. It is my favorite planet in the solar system because of those big, bright, and beautiful rings surrounding it. Now, Saturn is another gas giant, so we don't know of any solid core to stand on. So we just know of all those miles and miles and miles of clouds. We think there might be a soupy core way deep down in the center of these planets, but we haven't found the evidence of it yet. We don't have enough proof. So for now, they're just big clouds and gas planets with these beautiful rings surrounding Saturn. And those rings are made up of tiny pieces of rock and ice. Now I say tiny, but they're only tiny relative to the planet itself. So those little pieces of rock and ice could be the size of a bus or the size of a house. There are even moons inside of those rings. So they're pretty awesome. They're not solid at all, even though they look kind of like an ice rink you could skate around on. Let's swing on past Saturn and fly on out to the next planet in our trip. Here we are arriving at the planet Uranus. Uranus is a quiet blue planet, not too much going on the surface there. There's some little light spots where the clouds are just a little bit of a different color. Something interesting about Uranus is its ring system. I can make those brighter for you here. Now, each of the gas giants, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, have their own ring system. I didn't show you Jupiter's. We saw Saturn's for sure. And here you can see Uranus's rings as well. Now, you might notice they're a little bit funny. Uranus is actually knocked on its side, so it spins differently than all the other planets. So it's a pretty unique planet. We think that a long time ago, back when the solar system was first forming, a large object, planet-sized object, smacked into Uranus while it was still doing its thing and forming into a planet. And that collision actually knocked it over on its side, and it's stayed that way ever since. Let's fly on out to our last planet. You might be able to guess what it is. I gave you a hint earlier. Our last planet of our outer solar system tour is Neptune. It's another quiet blue planet, but there's a little bit more going on. It's a little darker, and you can see that great dark spot in the clouds right down there. And that's another great storm. Just like Jupiter has the great red spot, Neptune has the great dark spot. That's another hurricane-like storm that's churning around on the surface of Neptune. And as promised, Neptune does have rings as well, just like Uranus and Saturn and Jupiter. They're just very dim and hard to see. With my computer here, I'm able to make them brighter and easier to see for us. Awesome. So Neptune and Uranus are also considered ice giants because they're so far away from the sun. There's not as much light and heat energy way out here in the outer solar system. So they're very icy and they are very cold. Excellent. So let's go on to one more thing. I want to show you just how far apart each of these planets are. So we're going to start off here on Earth, and we're going to zoom out and get a top-down view of our entire solar system. So here we have the sun at the center of our solar system, followed by the inner planets that we learned about in a different video: Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. And you can see their orbits in the different colored bands surrounding the sun. So these planets go around the sun. It takes Earth 1 year to go around the sun once. And as we zoom out, we can see that the inner planets are very close to each other compared to these outer planets: Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. I'm going to zoom around a little bit, get a nice angle. I also included Pluto on this model here because Pluto is way far out in the outer regions of the solar system. And while it's not a planet, it's still nice to see the dwarf planet Pluto every once in a while and remember that it's still here for us and still making awesome journeys around the sun. Awesome. All right, so that's going to conclude our tour of the outer solar system.
Thank you for joining me on that tour. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. If you did, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content.